So, this is a topic that it's not that I've been wanting to discuss, it's just that on and off when I hear people rant about these things, it pops off my head thinking that, hey, this problem could have been solved easily, but if they do this, and then it sort of wandered off my mind, and then I never, and, and and if someone brought it up again, then the same thought would happen, you know. So this is again, we always see this type of comments. As you know, I'm in the car industry, right? And I have friends who are in motorsports and all that, and there is always this I wouldn't call it a rant, but it's a genuine concern. And then people will say things like, oh, the government doesn't support the motorsport industry, they should divert more funding over blah 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 blah. But to me, right, the biggest role of government or a ministry is not about diverting funds. I mean, yes, they have their funds, but it's limited, right? We are not a rich country, and the funds from government is limited. I mean, you cannot expect every sports to be sponsored and funded by government, right? But apart from complaining or mentioning that, oh, the sports ministry or the government doesn't support, I don't just mean the sport ministry. It can be whatever that I wanted to discuss, right? It can be applied across the board to other ministries as well. But fundamentally, is the role of government when it comes to enabling or empowering industries, okay? Be it sports or motorsports or whatever for that matter, it can be ping pong, it can be darts, regardless, okay? The thing is this, I mean, if you are in a certain industry of sports, let's say motorsports, and all you can hope for is for funding to come from government, how much funding can they come? And does it make sense for any sports minister to answer the public that, oh, we are funding a Malaysian race team, they bought a V8 and a V10, and we are of the opinion that it's impossible, right? Right? They're gonna get pulled down, right? That's not the right move or the right optics for that matter. But everyone in every industry will think that their industry deserves more funding, deserves more acknowledgement and all that. Now the word is acknowledgement. You see, right? I'm putting on motorsports, for example. It can be applied across the board. Even gaming, right? See, the thing is this: as a country, we like to lambast ourselves and laugh at ourselves. Of course, during Olympic, we hope we can get medals, but we are also kind of self-deprecating in a way. Malaysia cannot right? But why? Why cannot? Right? I mean, there are so many countries in the world that are poorer than us that are able to garner something. Anyway, I know motorsports is not in the Olympics. I mean, you look at countries like South Korea, right? They are laser focused on the things that they might stand a chance, right? You look at the sports that they focus in, somehow sort of tells you that the Korean sports ministers is a bit like, nah, Asians, we can't beat the whites or the blacks in athletic sports, so we focus on shooting, right? Fencing, and certain things that maybe shooting arrow or shooting gun or whatever, right? Things that they stand a higher chance in getting medals, and then they focus on it, and they train people. They have a whole series of process, right, on how from a national level and all that. There is a system that filters people and trains them professionally and all that, purely to garner medal in Olympics. right? I mean, the fact is, national pride comes with it, right? And you can see that rich countries do well. Of course, I mean, the Koreans are like laser focused, and in a way, it is also should I call it lack of self-confidence or what? No, I mean, they're being realistic, right? They're like, okay, no, let's not focus on swimming, you know, let's not focus on what the Chinese are a different world, right? They are bringing the whole Asian pride thing. Who says Asians can't beat? And then they just dive in and just force. I mean, I don't want to discuss that, okay? But you see what I mean, right? You see, certain countries, you can tell that they are laser focused on some. Hopefully they get the medal from there, right? And that's why you see, you know, our friends from Indonesia, Thailand, and whatnot, and Taiwan, even Taiwan has like what 20 million population, right? They got a lot of medals. Australia is a big sports winning country, right? They are huge. They are UK as well, France as well. I mean, all these rich countries. Why? Yes, some people might want to relate back to racial or ethnicity, inherent DNA, which I don't deny. I do not deny that blacks run rather quick, right? They are rather athletic, but it's not that a Chinese hasn't won a marathon against Kenyans, right? It happened in 2004, was it? That Chinese girl, yeah, those behind her thought they lapped her, but actually she's in front. She's always in front of them. Anyway, what I want to say is that yes, the first thinking is, oh, sports ministers should fund us. Sports ministry should fund our sport. But there's only so much they can fund. There's so many sports out there, so many people out there. It's impossible. But what they can do, in my opinion, is acknowledgement and facilitate. What I mean is, this is cheap. This is not expensive at all. Just imagine this, right? Imagine this for a moment, okay? In our sports ministry's website, right? There is a multitude of sports categories that are whether it's Olympic or not doesn't matter, right? But it is sports that Malaysians do, right? Be it what do you call that, Petronas, the Kapchai race, or Sepang TCR or whatnot, or MSF, you know. And then within that sports category, I mean, you have ping pong, you have badminton and all that, of course, right? Football and all that, right? And then within that is a whole plethora of acknowledgements. Let's say, all right, you see 2-liter category, I mean, under the sports ministry's website in Malaysia, right? And then you have the category of motorsports. Under motorsports, you have cars, you have bikes, you have whatever, off-road or rally or whatever, right? And then you have this category under the TCR category, or this one under what? And then who's the lap record holder, right? Your name there. The fact is, right, getting acknowledgement from the government is a big deal, right? And next to your name and your racing team is, say for example, syarikat-syarikat yang berjasa dalam industri motorsport. Like, I mean, for those who don't understand Malay, like the companies that contributed to the advancements of the motorsport industry in Malaysia. What companies? The companies that sponsor your race car. Put their logo there, right? The logo links to their website. Now, what would this do? How much does this cost the government to do? Probably a couple of thousand ringgit if you ask proper vendors to do it. But if you ask the control, the crony, I don't know how much they mark up, 100,000, 200,000, I don't know, okay? Anyway, but it costs them next to nothing, but it's a big deal for those who are involved in the sports. And it's a big deal for those companies who sponsor the teams, the racing teams. As long as they are a legal registered company in Malaysia, it's a legal business that they're doing, it's a legal entity, put their logo there, right? Link back to their website. These are simple things that the government can do. Getting recognition from the government, regardless of that page, whether that page is, uh, very popular with high traffic or not. Getting recognition is a big deal. Why don't we take one step further, right? You have a few freelancers that has a standard template from the government as an appreciation of these private companies in sponsoring sports. Whether you sponsor a badminton player, or you sponsor a ping pong player, or a golf guy. This is bad. Right? So as long as you have sponsored certain sports activity, maybe a swimmer or whatever, right? And you can actually maybe a self-manual process of submitting your sponsorship, or maybe through the manager of that team or whatever, but you can submit it to the government, and the government with photos or whatever, right, you get to prove that you actually did it, and then they issue you a PDF copy of a cert that is standardized anyway, but with your company logo there, with your name mentioned there, and the person you sponsored there, what year you did it. And that is such a gesture that you can frame up in your company, right? You can post it up on your website, you can post it up on your Facebook. Thank you to the Ministry of Sports for acknowledging our contribution to the country. Just make the whole thing look like a much bigger deal, which in fact it is. Without private sponsorship of sports people, whichever discipline they're in, whether it's diving, whether it's rock climbing, whether it's throwing darts or whatever, even e-gaming, right? Without private sponsorship, talents will never grow, right? Talented people won't feel that this is a right career path. And that's the key word, career path. In a lot of these countries, right, let's say, have you watched Japanese primary school basketball matches or football matches? Look at how high the standard is. Primary school, look at their standard. It's crazy. Why? Because they make a big deal out of it, right? This province, the schools will challenge each other, and then you progress to the next one, and then you challenge each other. It's always spectated by the crowds, and then you have spaces for people to advertise, or the local businesses can advertise there, and then you make it known. Let's say there is a regional match in Kuala Lumpur, okay? From which primary school against which primary school, and then who came out on top, and then who won. And this championship, the scoring or which team went to semi-finals or whatnot, right, is plastered across the notice board of some other schools in Kedah or in Terengganu. Don't you think that this will make them feel that this is a big deal, right? A certain sports that is being conducted in Penang, somebody from Johor is aware of it and they know of it, right? And probably, if you can, use your influence as the government to tell news, 7 o'clock news to report it. It is reported in the news under the sports segment. Instead of reporting some whatever US Open or whatnot, right? Create news ourselves. Make it important. And when it is important, people will take notice. When people will take notice, they will watch it. And if people watch it, sponsors might come. And if sponsors come, then chances of it becoming a big deal will further nurture our future generations in treating it seriously. Currently, the way we do it is by hobby. Oh, if you like it, you play lor. And you find your own way lor. You look for competition to participate, and then you go and participate yourself on your own funding. You should do it on your own funding. The government shouldn't fund your own personal hobbies. But what the government can do is to cleverly link up these things and let everyone knows use their influence as the government to encourage private sectors to sponsor and support them, and also from the media side of things to give emphasis to it, and from some simple website gesture to acknowledge the sponsors and the achievements of each sportsman. Do you think if this is in place, I mean, if this video is watched by Hannah Yo, that would be great. If someone knows her, please share to her. This is a very cost-effective method to cultivate our future sportsmen, regardless of which discipline they're in, because it makes them feel important. It gives them the publicity they need, and then you reward the sponsors that sponsor them as a contribution to the country, which in fact they are. It is a contribution, right? And then give them a cert so they can proudly show to people, which costs nothing. And trust me, this will give the whole mechanism of this, when it works well, right? Of course, the website or whatever, make it easy for people to submit their achievements and all that, and then someone to cross-audit or whatnot. But trust me, it's great. It's great. If I am practicing Taekwondo, I know, and yeah, keep us informed when there are matches happening wherever, right? They can apply through the Sport Ministry's website, and the Sport Ministries give them acknowledgement, like a calendar under this sports category, this calendar of matches happening or championships happening. Isn't that great? You can promote silat, you can promote whatever kind of sports you want to, if you make the best use of your capability, which is not funding, right? Our funding should be spent properly. There are many other ways, like developers building a new township, right? What if the sports ministry sends a letter to all the developers, or an open message on the news, cover it, a message to all developers, right? Yes, you can have a gym, you can have a swimming pool, but it will be better. We will acknowledge you and give you come and help officiate your opening if you build a sports arena in your township, right? If you make sure your township cultivates sports activities, right? You have basketballs, you have badminton courts, you have all these things, and the sports ministries actually will acknowledge your effort. So there are many ways there are many things. I mean, all these methods are very useful in cultivating our next generation of sportsmen. And I believe when this happens, you as the government is actually using your position as the government to facilitate, acknowledge, mobilize, and let the private sector fund their personal ambitions. Not everybody can be a champion, but everybody deserves a chance when they are starting to be supported along the way, right? Most parents would discourage their kids. Oh, no lah, you better study, that's more important, because they don't see a path ahead, right? But tell me, if there is a parent in US, when they see their child is very good in NBA, that don't believe in basketball having a future, they actually believe in it. And their TV stations cover high school matches. They turn them into celebrities, right? The local sponsors will want to sponsor them. It means something. So that's what I mean, all right? And I think this is way more cost effective than trying to figure out where to divert your funding. Just be clever a bit and take a macro view on how you can position yourself best to make use of what we already have. You see, all the businesses, right, they want some people, when they advertise, right, they actually need some people with visibility for them to spend money on. They really actually wanted to spend money on some talents that carry some weight, right, to sponsor and make them their face of their brand or something. You know what's the sad thing? Nobody knows who our sportsmen are, except those few badminton players that got on the world stage, right? Nobody knows. And at the end, they resort to sponsoring who? Influencers, who are probably making funny videos or pranks on YouTube, and then they become influencers, and then yeah, I would rather see local businesses sponsors sports people, but on the condition that the government help facilitate in letting us know what achievements they have done. And of course, if even primary school basketball or football matches gets acknowledged, through the calendar or whatnot, and that would be a great thing, and that would be a great start. Okay, I think by doing this alone will generate more sports people and encourage the industry. The industry will see that, hey, this is something worth investing in because it's being acknowledged, it is being reported, it is being documented, right? And then the natural forces of people with passion, people with a hobby, coupled with industries who are willing to sponsor, and they get their return from the sponsor because they get attention. And all the government needs to do is just to facilitate it, or ministries. All right? What are your thoughts? Cheers. Just to add, you can have a TikTok account, and instead of the TikTok account under sports ministries showing what the sports minister is doing, going to here and there, yeah, you can have that. But you can also encourage the schools when they're having their matches to record their matches, submit their clips to the sports ministry, and then they will post it on their TikTok account or IG account. Wouldn't that be great? Right? That is a form of giving acknowledgement to even the smallest of competitions held between schools and all that. That is a great way of giving them publicity as well. Right? And then give full rights to TV stations or whatnot to use it. There may be interesting stuffs, like the Japan school, the primary school kids, during a basketball match, right? It was down to the last second, and they were down 1 point or 2, and then the kid, upon, after the other team scored from the bottom of the net, passed the ball, and then the kid just whacked the ball to a whole field and scored and won the match. That was amazing. But I wouldn't know that, nobody would know that if it weren't published on TikTok. Alright? Cheers.